Newsflash! I hate soccer. It's dumb. I don't like it. But I guess with Mario does it, it's fine. Battle Strikers Mario League, the new game in the Mario Striker franchise. Why it took them 15 years, I don't understand. But it's here and it's looking a lot less edgy than the last time we saw it. Naturally, we all thought, oh, this is lame. Well, guess what? It was not. Like, yeah, I agree that Charge had a lot of personality. I love the way they teamed the characters well, giving each one a musical style and making Pity Piranha do this one. Of all Mario extras, Pity became the best just because of this. Also, Wario was borderline suicidal in it when he lost. No one knows what compelled him to do this, but we are all thankful for it. Heck, Daisy back then had such cool animations and personality and characterization, people completely dismissed Battle League just because she wasn't in it. And I'm usually pretty chill with not dismissing games from just the trailers, but I perfectly got it. They chose to do Toad instead. Nintendo, people don't like Toads. They did manage to predict Bowser's Fury in Charge though. Also back then, Waluigi took out Third Mid-Purple. Now, I have bad news for y'all Shadow the Hedgehog fans. Turns out Charge was the edgy brother to the original Strikers, which is basically on the same tone as Battle League. That means Nintendo really didn't do anything wrong toning it down. Yes, I like the sass in Charge more, but it's nothing to be angry about. And then the animations came out and people completely stopped being angry. Like, damn, I don't think I've ever seen Mario characters be this well animated. Excluding Luigi's Mansion 3, I don't know how that one looks because I avoided it. I don't know who Nintendo approached, but those people just got down and created some of the best animations I've ever seen in these characters. So, now I'm here going to explain exactly why. It's not like they did any crazy things you wouldn't expect from Mario, but they really created animations that truly speak about these characters in many ways. Like Mario. What's Mario? What's his personality? Brave? Fat? Maybe Italian? No, he is Jumpman. And these animations show it just right. Mario's core animation is a perfect example of what they managed to do with these characters. They chose to make Mario cartwheel into a backflip. And this cartwheel is the perfect idea for a Mario animation. You see, Mario is very round because it made it easy for the developers to simply make his hitbox a ball in the game, which made collisions easier to calculate back in the 64 era. So because that design remained, the distance of Mario's arms is about the same as the size of his head, which makes this cartwheel look excessively squared. It looks controlled. It looks Mario, athletic yet still small and chubby. By far though, the jump takes the cake. It's so punchy in motion, but this motion is not just there to look punchy. In fact, it simulates how Mario jumps in the platforming games. The acceleration at the start and end leaves Mario to somewhat hang in the air, something the games do so the players have enough time to adapt. They brought the design of Mario games into these Mario animations. You'll see this again in his Victor animation too, where his jump height is made according to the rules of a typical triple jump. Afterwards, he simply pumps as if hitting a block, and then he lets the crowd cheer for him with open arms, showing his cheery demeanor while still confident in Mario. So basically they grabbed a little bit of their personality, a little bit of their history in games, and a little bit of their gameplay mechanics and put them together into these 10-second animations. And Mario is just the first of many. Luigi's animations are similar to Mario's, but play more to the look and style of Luigi, so while he does a similar entrance animation, he is much more loose and rectangular. This looseness was achieved by going overboard with a squash and stretch. I mean, just look at this frame. His goal animations show a smaller but similarly punchy jump as the one I just analyzed with Mario. But the spin to kick combo is more limber than Mario's jump to kick. It's faster, less flashy, but still snappy. I believe Luigi's animations are actually somewhat inspired by the way he moves in the Mario and Luigi games. Where Mario is often reserved, he's more quirky, he dances, he stretches whenever he turns into Dream Luigi. So that was brought into this game as you can see from this dancing animation. Squash and stretch was made abundant even when he doesn't jump, unlike the other characters who only squash and stretch when they're moving fast or when they are jumping. You can tell he is Mario's brother, but he's still a different person. He looks so good in this animation where he does that finger dance that looks familiar to me, but I just can't quite pinpoint it. Can you? Can someone help me in the comments? Bowser's animations actually suck instead. In comparison, he does have the worst in the game. He is much more heavy, less punchy. He mostly stumps and doesn't move a lot because my man is heavy. But the added screen shake and dust really bring forth how massive Bowser is supposed to be. There's not a lot of nuance to him in his animations. I like that his hands are more often fists or claws, and I love that they animated his chest to bounce along with his laugh. He looks so mean in his match victory animation. Maybe he doesn't have to stand out, his already massive size is part of his personality, so there may not be too much to do there. Peach, in turn, is pretty funny because she's got this inner conflict between I can sport well good and I'm the damn princess of these people. Half of her animations are regal waves. Her entrance pose simulates her lifting her dress as a show of leadership. Her facial expressions before doing an acrobatic transmit the image of her wondering whether or not she should try it before flawlessly executing those acrobatics. Her victory animation has her swiping her ponytail before doing the standard wave at the crowd, and her lose animation involves her attempting to calm herself down. She shows leadership. She's classy, but that doesn't mean she can't focus. Her strike animation has her looking at the ball all the way, and she does a lot of cartwheels for some reason. They are very light and, again, deliberate. All of her animations appear deliberate because they want to retain this elegant look to her. So, Rosalina instead is a space princess. She obviously floats in most of her gameplay animations, but she's slow and clearly very shy. Just look at the pose she makes when waving at the audience. Torso perked back, hands carefully placed nearby, reserved stance. That doesn't mean she doesn't know what makes her great. Sure, all her acrobatics involve flying, which is very natural to her of course, but the audience must still get excited from it. She's all about the sparks and sticking a pose, invoking the sense of mystic authority that a space princess should have. In her victory pose, she stands above the rest of the crowd and accepts the cheering. Her animations have some really cool details, like for example, she looks down before descending and the ball freezes while it's in space in her hyper strike. Yes, she kicks the ball around the star, which is not that surprising, I think they're in space for this game. And it's really cool to see how these people took her character. Here you can tell she's shy, but powerful and graceful. She knows she's powerful and different, and you even get the sense that she's trying to be humble about it but keeps forgetting. She's floating even as she face plants into the ground. No one knows why Toad is here. Not even he does. He's like, holy crap, I just did that half of the time. And the other half is doing this. What's this supposed to be? What does this pose tell me? So basically, Toads are an entity and not a character. You actually see his animations evolve other Toads. They got them spirit at least. They simulate bird flies in proper formation together, cheer together, toss each other together. If perhaps they don't tell me much about the character, it's because they don't need to. They are very cheery mushroom people that like to do normal mushroom people stuff. Notice how they vibrate more when they run because of the stubby feet too? As for Yoshi... enjoy this frame? I don't like Yoshi. Don't roast me in the comments please, but I really don't. And he has by far the weirdest animations in this game. Sure, they reference a lot of stuff he does from the games. He grabs the ball live on stage for his hyper strike and people don't seem to mind. And he does run on top of the ball for his amazing victory animation before striking this very iconic pose. But the general idea from his animations that I get is, so he's supposed to be cute, but actually isn't, and he grabs eggs. And sometimes tongue, a lot less that Yoshi should have. Yoshi should have more tongue, that's kinda his thing, isn't it? No, I don't feel upstage. What brought this on? Let's move to the opposite spectrum, the least cute of the characters in Mario. Wario. Look, if there's something about Wario that will always look fantastic, it's his absolute wide-ass grin. So of course his jaw will be absolutely massive as often as possible, and it will look great because it will complement the already massive gut. Plus, it's iconic from the Wario World games. The problem is that he doesn't try to nuke himself. Though at least he does go for the shoulder tackle whenever he tries to tackle someone in the game, which taken from the Wario games. But seriously, Wario is an egomaniac, and instead of making him annoying to showcase this, they opted to make him very vocal. So he opens and closes his mouth a lot, despite only rarely losing the grin. His scoring celebration animation in particular is amazing. The egomania really shows when he grabs a massive clove of garlic, sniffs it, enjoys it, and downs it in one go. With such force he basically tumbles back. He doesn't even chew! Unlike Luigi with the squash and stretch, Wario's extremities expand completely, his head grows larger and his stomach bounces outwards whenever he uses it. In fact, when he moves, it's his head that becomes larger, not his stomach, which simply wiggles instead. This gives the illusion that Wario's stomach is a weight for his head, spine and legs to pull around, rather than a bolt that overshadows his actual personality. This brings all of the attention to the stomach without the stomach really doing anything. It's all about the stomach, sure, but it is not the stomach. I think they did a really good choice with this because Wario hasn't always been about the stomach, he's more about the face, about that ego. And after slapping his belly, he shamelessly burps into your face doing that Minecraft zombie sound. He dances a little and uses the 3-finger peace sign too, a Wario staple that is uncommon to see nowadays, but the character has used it multiple times. Back when Wario was created, Mario would use the peace sign a lot, so Wario's 3-finger peace sign is something of a mockery for Mario's 2. Like trying to one-up Mario, but not really getting to do it, while still having his own stuff going on. DK. My god. So they grabbed the animations from the DK Country Returns games and turned them up to 17. His animation for walking someone over the ground looks perfect. When other characters do it, is not as funny. He's happy, he pumps his chest cause he's monkey, he jungle beats the floor like that after finding your grades, he eats banana, he spikes the ball with his open palm in his hyper strike like this is flipping volleyball, and the judge is like, he's really cool, so I don't mind. I guess it's fine if he does it. It's just cool. Some of his animations are a set of monkey behaviors. Also, a lot of them are a set of DK behaviors. His covering animation in particular hit us like a bridge. I know this if you've seen it. Man drifts into frame, laughs at his enemy using his shoulder of all things, shuffles, does this monkey moonwalk which involves not only his legs but his massive arms too, drums on the ground, break freaking dances, and points at you like, my place at 5, bring a spare pair of panties. Such power, such visual abuse of those tiny legs. The frame before he claps is absolutely amazing, by the way, look at it. DK extrudes confidence in his animation. His shoulders are kept very wide to help achieve this. He looks heavy and he is big but moves light, particularly when he is swinging around like a monkey. You can tell he drums in his free time, but most importantly,
okay.
This animation he does here is just basically the enter stage animation from DK Country Returns 2. Even Boom Boom got a nice treatment. Being the goalie, he doesn't often have the camera on him, but in gameplay you get to see him almost all the time. So they made his hands really big, so if he does any action animations, you can clearly see it. That's why they look bigger and smaller as you play the game. And yet, none of those surprised me as much as the next one. Waluigi is now hot. Look at that spread. Look at that spin, look at those eyes. He's basically Dwight from The Office. So, turns out Waluigi has a really cool body. Like, he's really long, and unlike most limber characters, he doesn't have a round or square shape. He has an hourglass shape. Well, yeah, sure, it's more of an inverted triangle, but because he has the lengthiest legs of any male Mario character, animators often get to really play with him, and they often made him stand wide, aka in the shape of an hourglass. His gameplay animations are great, making fun of people between matches and jumping entirely whenever he shoots, and he runs dick first, flailing his arms and legs wildly as he dashes. When someone hits him, my man straight up tumbles over like a spider. All of his limbs touch the ground. He visually trips when he turns, unlike most characters, and I love the stretch before someone's service. Oh, and this small celebration animation when he actually wins a match in the background. Just a stanky dance ending on this pose. That serve! Look at it, my man lays down before the ball like he's the king of the universe. I can honestly fawn for hours over every single animation they made here for Waluigi. The entrance, even when he's in the background, he hunches down like he's telling a kid not to join the mafia. The score, when he laughs at you walking backwards, doesn't lose eye contact with Boom Boom to really dig it into him, and then he does this face of absolute delight. Then he pulls out a flower doing a magic trick, and proceeds to make several spins where all of his limbs systematically spin to follow the rose's movement. And all of this is really complex to look at and to follow, but then, this pose. How dare he hit you with this one? And he adds a finger snap while catching a flower on his mouth. It should be messy, but it's extremely calculated and created with the idea that only Waluigi could put this off. Man was short of a wink to mess me up. This particular end pose has him create a W on both sides of his body, hence why it's so awkward yet precise. But the cherry on top is the fact that the rib from bat to the bone actually straight up plays. This is damn near perfect! And his hyper strike. He still follows the roses, but he goes from pose to pose, flawlessly, elegantly, confidently, and then my man burst out Hermie fucking purple once again. Waluigi, give me children. The other animations don't stay behind, by the way. There's this one where he pulls on his mustache giving this shifty look that is all about the elegance and the pride. Even his losing animation has him kicking up dust and making awkward yet cartoony poses that use his long limbs to the advantage. His victory shows that he is an absolute crowd pleaser. He's living it up to the praise. He doesn't thank you, he bows. It's his performance and he absolutely owned it. Notice how he flows between poses, how he always swings his hands radially while rarely moving them directly up and down, how he still cannot get over the pose. Hey, if the game does anything, it should be to show Illumination Studios how to animate these characters for the Mario movie. My immediate thought was all about how the movie might actually be worthwhile if the animation is as polished and thought of as the animation from this game. It just leads me to wonder if this would have been even cooler if the charged tone remained. There's a lot less content in this game, so even though the animations slap, the other aspects don't really look as interesting to me. Charge had a style, this one just has an appeal, and I'm excited to see their take on DLC characters like Daisy, Bowser Jr. or Nabbit, because the characters with the best animations here are Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and DK, so the guys with an actual personality that isn't a single character trait. Peach? Sure, she's a princess. Daisy's too, but she's sassy, she's confident, she's something of a tomboy, and Bowser Jr., yeah, he's a child, he's a crybaby, but he doesn't really like being cuddled. The more you give the animators, the better things they can produce. If they make any DLC, I'll be really excited to see those animations because they are basically the best part of the game. So a round of applause to these animators for it. Thank you for making the best part of the game and for animating Mario characters to perfection, to Waluigi. Waluigi is perfection. Waluigi is life. Waluigi is forever. Oh, anyways, remember when Mario got on a horse? I'm not joking, there's this render of Mario on a horse. It is strange, but it actually happened in that one Superstar Sports game. I don't even remember what it is one. Subscribe, by the way.